Release the Kraken.
Oh, abrupt end. Sorry about that. Good day, Hockey Nation fans. I'm sorry we weren't able to do the live broadcast this morning, but I wanted to provide you Detroit Red Wings update for February the 22nd. I just returned from Minnesota where I was scouting many hockey games for the Everett Silvertips. And last night, the Detroit Red Wings got back to their winning ways. We knew that the Washington Capitals were on a 4-game losing streak entering this game, playing without Alexandre Ovechkin, who was on indefinite leave after the death of his father, Mikhail. And Tom Wilson was back, but that was definitely not enough. The Red Wings totally took advantage of the situation. Caps were playing a spirited game early on. This was also the return of Jakub Vrana. And this is the first game he has played, his third of the year after being in the NHL Player Assistance Program and spending quite a bit of time in the AHL. We know he's been up with the team for the last number of, at least a week and a half, I think, since the injury of Lucas Raymond. So here we are. We've got Vrana facing his former team, and the major piece to that puzzle being Anthony Mantha, who the Red Wings traded to get him and a few other pieces. So without further ado, we had a terrible thing happen. Dylan Larkin took a very uncharacteristic, he was immediately apologetic, uncharacteristic cross-check to the face of I was going to say Tyler Bertuzzi, TJ Oshie. Oh my God. And as a result was ejected from the game. But the Red Wings did not lose their composure. Their hot captain. This is the only thing that can stop Dylan Larkin from scoring is him not being in the game. We know he's been on a hot streak. He had 11 points in his last 5 games coming into this game, 12 in his last 6. Actually, it might have been more than that. I have to check. It might have been 15 or something. But totally unfortunate. I was like a gasp, and Dylan was like, "Oh no, I'm so sorry." I don't think it's such a strange play, but they did a review, and today it was announced he's fined $5,000, the maximum allowable under the CBA, and this goes to, I think, the Players Emergency Fund. So this was a weird one, very uncharacteristic for Dylan Larkin. He was immediately apologetic. It was an accident, clearly, but it cost him 5 Gs in the rest of the game. That did not stop your Detroit Red Wings, however. They were up after the first 2-1, and that would be all she wrote pretty much. Pretty close in a lot of other categories. Capitals' only goal came on the power play. Slight edge in faceoffs. 19 penalty minutes to 6. That's reflecting the game misconduct to Captain Dylan Larkin. 26 hits for the Caps. As I mentioned, they were definitely trying. I mean, this was a spirited game, I thought, on their behalf. 28 block shots, though, by the Red Wings. That's crazy. 28 block shots. It seemed like a lot. I didn't realize that much. So this is how it went. Robert Hagg, who was in the lineup, gets his first of the year. I think Kemper would actually like this one back. If I recall, it was not, I don't know. It was a shot on net, but I thought it was kind of like a dump in almost. And then Pius Suter is the other player, been super hot, gets his 10th of the year, unassisted, shorthanded. This was a turnover by former Detroit Red Wing Nick Jensen, who fired the puck out. It went over Kuznetsov's stick, and right to Pius Suter, who made no doubt about it and made it 2-0 at that point. Tom Wilson would score on the power play. This is a 5-minute power play. I think it was part of the 5-minute to Larkin early on. There'd be no goals in the second, and then Pius Suter gets on the board again unassisted. Now, what was surprising was the decision to pull up Filip Zadina, who had been, I think he was playing very well with Suter, and it was him playing on Suter's line that really got Suter going, and yet they make the decision to pull up Filip Zadina. They just do not like the way this guy plays. He can't even be in the top 12. It's just bizarre to me. He was getting some assists. He was scoring goals. He's a highly talented player. Like, they just don't like the way he manages the puck, I guess. And Vrana came in and had absolutely no effect on this game. I think Vrana played about 11 minutes in this game. Another quiet game from Jonathan Berggren. So I was a little bit surprised. Again, if you look back at Zadina, I think he had 3 points his last 5 games, and yet they sit him. Solid game from Moritz Seider, I thought. Robert Hagg stepping in. Wallman looked very good. He is such a good defenseman. This is a great pickup by the Red Wings. He definitely fits in the top 4 and has really helped Seider turn his season around after being anchored to Ben Sherratt. But Ben Sherratt pulls in 20 minutes last night, only 16 to Alemany, was signed to an extension not that long ago. Ville Husso played a pretty darn good game. .963 save percentage. Can't get much better than that. He definitely outplayed Darcy Kemper, who I think had 2 goals that he would have liked back. I mean, the one wasn't his fault. The shorthand, I guess, really wasn't. That was just like a broken play turnover off of the Jensen bobbled pass. So now the Red Wings, who had and still have games in hand on Washington. Washington has completely fallen down from what seemed like, solid second spot in the wild card race. They are now down to 5th and falling. 5 losses in a row. The Red Wings have won 6 of their last 7. That's pretty darn good. And they now have 62 points in 56 games. They have the same games in hand. They're 1 point off Pittsburgh, who's been sitting in that first playoff wildcard spot for a very long time. And now they've lost 3 in a row. Wow. Did not see any of this coming. Florida was briefly, I think, in the first wildcard spot. I don't believe any of this. Red Wings have 4 games in hand on Florida, 62 points to 64. So now they have a really tough matchup tonight, which is the 3rd place in the Metro Division, New York Rangers. And the Rangers just lost 1, but they're 7-1-2 in their last 10. So will not be an easy game. This should feature Shesterkin versus Husso, continuing to get the workload. Husso, you're not going to put Hellberg in against the best goalie probably in the world at the moment, or one of the best 5 anyway. He's probably the best in the world. Sorokin's giving him a run for his money. And of course, you've got the other Vasilevsky. It's like all these Russian goalies. Where are the Canadian goalies? You got Finn. We need to figure this out, Canada. Jeez, so crazy. So the Breadman is delivering 11 points in his last 5 games. Robbie Fabry's been great since he's come back from injury. This is good news story. Another former St. Louis Blue in Detroit. You can see another guy down there by the name of Oscar Sundqvist with a +5 in the last 5 games. And I really like Sundqvist games. There's just so many, but between Husso, Fabry, Sundqvist, Perron's been kind of quiet, although he's been getting some assists. He was playing in Lucas Raymond's spot on that Larkin line, and then Larkin went out. So I don't know. He was pretty quiet again last night. The thing that has clicked a little bit, although it didn't last night, is the power play was really doing pretty well for Detroit. And I think that's a big part of why they had some success. So they're doing this without Lucas Raymond. They did it without Filip Zadina, which doesn't seem to be a big deal for them. But I thought Zadina was playing pretty well. The New York Rangers, tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern time. There was I'm going to cough. Sorry. So, I mean, I was looking at this and, this is not how I thought the month was going to turn out for them. Even if they lose the rest of the games, knock on wood, they don't. But, if they get another win in here against Ottawa, even 1. But if they can get pulled 2 wins out of the last 3, this is a great month. I was predicting like 4-8 on the month. I did not have a lot of optimism. Man, the Red Wings getting a little bit healthy have proven me wrong. I'm assuming Dylan Larkin is back, but I don't see that there's a game suspension just a match misconduct on the $5,000, maximum allowable under the CBA. They did not let the loss against Seattle. It's just turned out to be just a bump in the road. What do you think of the Ryan O'Reilly trade now? I actually watched a Maple Leafs game. Ryan O'Reilly last night, Snook, I text with his dad. He's like, I wonder if I have it. I think I deleted it. Hold on. I said, wow, Hattie. I didn't want to say anything until he scored it. And as he said, Brian's response was lots of honey in that hatch. And I'll show you the picture of this, but I guess I should do its own video, but let's go entire screen. It's going to work. Oh yeah. Entire screen. And it said lots of honey in that hat trick was his comment. And he had a cute little picture. Let's see if I can show you that picture. Oh my goodness, I'm having problems here. Here it is. This was his response. Lots of honey in that hat trick. Winnie the Pooh. Yes, sir. That was a good news story. Snook is happy in Toronto, and Toronto's going to be happy to have him. Although they were up, like, first of all, Mitch Marner, did he have 5 or 4 points last night? Holy smokes. Beautiful setup for Ryan on the first goal. That was kind of crazy. So I think this is going to work out pretty well for the Leafs, but look at the score in the end. They were up like 5-1 or 5-0, and they still only won 6-3. Like Buffalo, they let them back in. And we know Buffalo's got a lot of offense, but this is going to be the problem. And they announced Jake Muzzin is out for the rest of the season. So it is what it is. I mean, good news is that Ryan's playing really well. He's got, I think that was his 12th or his 13th goal on the year after a really slow start. So this is, I think, I wish them luck, and I hope everyone's hoping this team is so good. You don't want to see this team broken up. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're probably going to face Tampa in the first round. Like, oh, wow, Snook 13, 14, and 15. I'm so sorry, Snook. He had 12 going into the game. So Ryan O'Reilly working out pretty well. Marner had 1 assist, 2 assists, 3 assists, 4 assists. And, man, he played very well. And it seems like his voice is broken on top of it. So congratulations on that, Mitch Marner. You're not a teenager anymore. It's great. Tavares played pretty well. Tavares is no matter what you say and what you're worried about with Tavares, when I watch him, like, he just goes to the front of net. He's got such good hands. He pays the price. William Nylander is a terrible defensive player. You saw it again last night. It's like he's like a ghost out there still. So that's never going to change. Michael Bunting, this is a great pickup. Like, Toronto's a pretty darn good team, but they still have this issue with 906 save percentage is indicative of how they play defensively, frankly. Like, they play this bandwagon hockey, and there's no turning back. Like, just what they're hell bent on. Like, how is that going to work come playoffs? I don't think it is, but I do hope they win at least one playoff round with Ryan, and maybe he'll even re-sign, or maybe he'll come to Detroit. I don't know. Detroit would be great too. Detroit's on the cusp. Like, Detroit might leapfrog Toronto if they have to dismantle this team because of all the tumult if they don't win a round in the playoffs. You don't want to see this team dismantled. Like, it's a pretty darn good team. They got 5 legit players there. Like, Nylander, O'Reilly, Marner. Matthews was kind of quiet last night. Tavares. And you still got Morgan Riley on defense. They need a better defenseman out there. I don't mind the goaltending. They have 4 goalies that seem competent between Kallgren, Samsonov. Murray, when he's in, is okay, but he's always going to be hurt. And then Joseph Woll. Like, where'd this come from? Suddenly he's a pretty darn good goalie. Big 6'5" former U.S. national goalie Joseph Woll. I mean, good job, Toronto Maple Leafs. So just for Ryan's sake, and I would like to see them have some success, and maybe Detroit sneaks in the playoff this year. They're suddenly put themselves in a position where they're shocking me. So if you're a Red Wings fan, this is all good news for the way they're playing. If they've got Vrana and Zadina, they're able to swap these guys in and out, and they're able to get offense out of them. If Lucas Raymond comes back soon, which it sounds like he might, Good times. What happens to Zadina when Raymond comes back, or Vrana? One of these guys might go. If you're at another team and you watch Philip Zadina, you might pick him up. Would not surprise me. Someone should pick him up. He's pretty good. Maybe just never going to work out in Detroit. All right, Hockey Nation fans, check out Hockey Nation Live tonight with Coach Frenchie. I'm going to sign off. This has been 15 minutes and 53, 4, 5 seconds, and I look forward to seeing you on a future Hockey Nation Live. I'll check in with Coach Frenchie, and maybe we can do something together.